There you go. Now I've all gotten the fucking holy trifecta of random nasal and throatal noises. Is that a word? Who knows? But I gained 4 new subscribers, obviously because of the Kim Jong Un shit, just riding off the coattails of his name. But yeah, that series is the only thing that's keeping my channel alive, which is great. But yes, to those of you watching, hope the quality is decent. I mean, it's a fucking shitty YouTube streaming quality, but let's get to it. I'm just gonna keep practicing crazy scooters, right? Or just the scooter mannequin because it's challenging and I want to challenge myself. Say challenge one more time. Challenge. Yum, yum, yum. But okay, wait. The fuck is it crooked? I think it's crooked. Okay, I think it's not crooked anymore. Let me check the stream. I can't seem to fast forward for some reason. Yeah, it's perfect now. Okay, cool. I'm gonna start drawing. If you are new to my channel, draw along. If you're not new to my channel, draw along. Actually do the work if you're able to. All right, let's all learn our fundamentals? Fundamentals? What the fuck am I saying? Fundamentals together and get to it. Okay. I want to obviously do a difficult angle, so this is where I'm going to practice. I need to practice visualizing this a bit better too, because let me just think. Okay, so it's something like this. There you go. And the good thing is I've done this plenty of times at this point. The bad thing is it never gets easier. So either way, I'm fucked. But let's see, something like this, like that, and then this is a bit longer, right? And then we need to think about this right there. Comes out. This is obviously the bike covering. I'm really trying to focus on the line quality, right? Okay, so obviously now I realize that I made this. Oh, my hand's really fucking shaky today. Goddamn, my fingers are really shaky right now, which is good. That means I have a lot to learn. But can this be? Because this is the perspective, right? We're looking at it from the bottom, right, right. Can this be salvaged? Is the real question. Perhaps if I do something like this, and then it's like that. Not super salvaged, actually, but work in progress, right? Whoever's watching, okay, they left. Fuck you. I saw an extra viewer, and for the love of God, I was like, I got a boner, but an art boner, of course, which is a very respectable blood flow of sorts, but and something like this. I don't think that's correct, but it's been a while, so it's what it is. And then we need to think about the middle of this, right? Again, think about the entire perspective. Obviously, back here, roughly, this connects is where I have right around here, I believe, because I'm trying to think about the entire the bike, right? So that's when we have, because I'm trying to think about the plane. So what's the plane? Oh, it's like this. So that's when you have similar to that. This as well, right? And then again, we are going, what's the two different, it's like that, right? So I need to, no, wait, what's, because I have to think about what the plane is. Which plane is this line going to interact with? Oh, I love this. I love how fucking difficult it is to think about this shit. Yeah, it's this one. So, okay, so it's more like that. There you go. And the thing is, I have to imagine this. I have to imagine this. Voice randomly gets nasally, which is great. But I have to imagine this as well, right? We have to actually think about what's going on here. We can't just do. You know, when it comes to discipline, it's don't think, just do. But when it comes to actually putting the work in, once you've gotten the doing part in motion, then it's time to actually think while doing, right? Fuck you, pieces of shit. How dare you join in for a second, realize this video is extremely boring, and then leave? Cunts, every single one of you. I fucking hate all of you. Thank you, like, subscribe. Thank you. Okay, and then we have this one coming outward. So this is gonna be much bigger, right? Okay, because that's the perspective, and it's on both planes going up and then out. So actually, if anything, I should probably get this done first. This will help establish my perspective. I miss Jeff. I miss Hiya Buddy or Hey Buddy, and I miss Corey Lee. My boys, my constant viewers. I remember the good old days when they used to pull up and be like, yo, yo, and I'd be like, yo, yo. That was last week. Good times. Right? So obviously I want to be more technical with this. So again, this is the perspective I've established, right? Something like that. And I have to think about how this is going to look. Right? So it should be something like this. Because this is much bigger, obviously. And I believe this should be. But I'm also trying to draw very thin lines, of course, right? Drawing thin. We're going back to the 90s. What is it? Everybody get on that cocaine if you want to be thin, right? Well, holy fuck, do you see? This is what I mean. No matter how proficient you are, right? The brush pen is a humbling thing. Do you see how fucking, look at these lines, bro. They're so wiggly. Oh, another viewer who joined just to tease me and leave, you bastard. I'll remember this when I'm rich. I'll remember every single one of you. Okay, it's something like this. Just basic shapes, right? And then comes outward. We obviously want it to be aligned. Why is my voice like that? Aligned. We obviously want it to be aligned, like so. Doobie doobie dooba, doobie dooba, alignment. Okay, that's in perspective. Cool. Yeah. Maybe that's a bit too small of a drawing. I think I made that way too small. Let's look at the perspective. I made this way too small, so that's an error. Error, right? This is always nice. Little covering thing. Yeah, this is way too big. Well, I definitely fucked up quite a few things here. Which is good. Actually, yeah, I definitely fucked that up. Holy shit. This is supposed to be much smaller. And that's supposed to be much smaller, which is good. So what is the middle point of this? If this is my perspective, that's the middle point right around there. So we need this. Right, the pipe comes out and then it goes in like so. And then we could bring the wheel back. There we go. Okay, so it's still off fucking center. Wonderful. It's still very off center. But slowly but surely, I guess we will get it down. This is way too small though. Holy shit, I drew very small. But again, it's because I limited myself in space. So that's my fault. Okay, so wait. This is actually where I make the biggest mistakes. Because yeah, so we should be seeing the bottom of this. There you go, and then it should be coming down like so. Thankfully, because this thing reaches across, and then the other side, it's also going, wait, it's going like this, so comes across. So we don't really see the other side at all, but I think this just comes down to me not understanding the forms very well. So let's just try drawing the wheel and the covering, right? So I may honestly with crazy scooters, like this is probably gonna take me forever, but I'm okay with that because that's how we learn, right? So again, I'm gonna put into a very simple box. Whoever just joined, because I know I saw two extra people who just joined, and they might have already left already. But draw along. Don't just watch me. You're not really gonna do much just watching you. Let's just draw along, enjoy our simple forms. If you have any questions, feel free to ask. Right, I'll be sure to shut them down immediately, and let's try this again. So this is the bike covering. I gotta draw really small, obviously. Okay, what size do I want the wheel? I think wheel should be around this size. Should be a little bit bigger. But the bike covering, it says essentially something like this, right? And then this is much longer. And then if this is our perspective, let me look back at the reference. Right? Yeah, this is our perspective. It's going this way. There you go. Yeah, and then this comes out. Something like this. Ah, yes, there you go. And then I want to think about the perspective yet again. Hey, oh, Green the second, what's up? Did you were one of your comments on my Q&A? I can't recall, but I think it was. Right? What's good? How's it going? Let's draw. Some shit like that, right? Let's draw. Am I motivating you? am I motivating you? Something like that. Right, this one comes down the middle. No, I didn't comment. All right, go fuck yourself. I mean, welcome. I welcome everybody who doesn't interact with my channel. I hope you had a wonderful day. I'm just kidding. I hope my sarcasm isn't lost to the wind. Do join. Do join. Let us draw. Right. Bye. Fuck. All right. You have a good day. This is how you retain your audience, everybody. Learn from me. Wait, I think I fucked up something here. May have fucked something up here. JK. What is that emoji? Jesus Christ. It's like the fucking Hulk after he nuts emoji. What the hell? And then, okay, so now we want the wheel. The wheel is something like, I think I already made this a bit too big. Or maybe this is a good size for this bike to be, actually. This might be a pretty good size. Because I could still keep the lines pretty thin. Even though the lines are horrible right now, Jesus. And we can, what's new? Nothing much. I've been practicing how to draw guns, the C22s in specific. So here's a little sneak peek for everybody who's, because it's all cute. You're gonna see this like 3 weeks from now. But yeah, this is the top part of the C22. Lots of practice involving that, right? But again, my videos are about the process. So if you pause and you look at it, you're like, all right, I don't need to watch the video anymore. Like, get the fuck off my channel. It's all about the grind. It's all about learning together, right? I'm trying to create a community of sorts, but I don't know why I tangented into that. Okay, so this I didn't make long enough. No, I made it more. I think I did. Actually, no, this is a good size. Never mind, that's a pretty good size. But let me check the chat. Did I miss anything from the chat? No, it's just Green. Okay, cool. And I have responded to him. But we need, that's the middle, then it's here actually. But yeah, draw along, like actually draw along. Maybe that's not accurate. Never mind. Okay, so right around here is where this thing is, right? Now this is where I need to start seeing the lines. Bro, you made too much cringe noises in your Q&A video. I appreciate it. I'll try to make even more on my next Q&A video. Right? Let's see, anyways. Let's see, something like this. Right, is it? Actually, yeah, it is basically the same. I wonder when people are gonna realize this is just my personality and it's not a bit. Give it another 10 years. Hopefully by then it'll have caught on. Okay, so now the biggest thing is just trying to figure out how high this should be going. There you go, like that. Right there you go. Okay, that's actually good proportion. My girlfriend is at my place. She doesn't know I am watching you. Brother, you can't be cheating on her like this. No, I meant seriously. Yeah, I mean seriously as well. I don't care if it's cringe or not, right? This is what I'm like with or without the camera, and it's just who I am. I find it funny, right? You don't have to find it funny, and you have every right to tell me you don't find it funny. I just like I have every right to tell you that I do not give a shite if you don't find it funny. It's just what I will do. But anyways, on to more important matters. Constructive criticism, which I will not take into account aside. This is pretty good. This is actually getting better. I just need to be able to see it more constantly, of course. Wait. I just took in who that was. Fucking Parkett, right? Bastard. uh, yeah, is my channel really that bad that you have to fucking hide it? Jesus Christ, bro. This is what the times have resulted in. Okay, and then right, something like that. Is that accurate? I'm not too sure. And again, I know I'm drawing over everything, but I've learned not to really give a shit about that. Damn, you are funny. I need to stop myself from laughing. You see, Green. Somebody appreciates me, or else she will find out. Yeah, motherfucker. Park it. I need 100 million more parkets for my channel. He's not cringe. He's actually just unique. He makes my pee hard. But I mean, just sell my channel as like, wow, this is someone who loves to draw. He's just a very, very, really loving, cool guy. Fuck, I fucked that line up. Kill me. Anyways, such a loving, loving, cool guy. Okay, that has to be aligned with that. Okay, this is actually, even though I've kind of bastardized the experience with drawing over this and shit. You know what? Not bad, not bad at all. Because it's about me being able to understand at the end of the day, right? It is starting to look bike-like. I do wish I was better at just making things look more, I guess, fancy. Oh, I made a mistake here. This should have been even closer. So watch, this one is going to be much further out. If we, oh yeah, and if you find my channel cringe, just mute me, keep me on the background, and give me retention. That's completely fine too, right? I have no qualms about the manner in which you choose to ignore me, as long as I benefit from it. Now she knows, sad face. Yes, and I'm sure she's from Canada, and I don't know her, right? But she's real. I believe that she's real, just like my girlfriend's real. You just haven't met her yet, never will. Neither will I, but that's between me and maybe her, if she remembers to exist. Okay. Yeah, see, so that's way too far. That's way too fucking far. But hey, it's still working, bro. What's wrong? Stop it now, bro. I don't know what you're telling me to stop. Bro, what's wrong? Stop it now, bro. Maybe he's talking to Parkett, but I don't know who the fuck he's talking to. But anyways. Oh, yeah, and this goes across, right? There you go, the bike part. It's a bit better. I think the bike should be roughly this big then, right? I wanted to draw it a bit smaller, but this might be a good size for it. Yeah, this is the big spacing thing right now that needs work, is this right here. The relationship between this and this, where this should be a lot closer. It should actually be right here, right? So right above this, like a little bit forward and then up. That's where it should be. But now we need to think, what is causing the biggest friction right now? What is the biggest point of friction I'm experiencing when drawing this? What makes it the most difficult? I would say it's clearly the relationship between the wheel, the covering for the wheel, as well as this, the body, and the proportions surrounding that, right? So let's see. I'm gonna rest my brain. Again, feel free to draw along, genuinely, right? If you guys are watching me for entertainment, cool, wonderful, but there will be lapses in time then, so give me 10 seconds whilst I rest my brain for neuroscience purposes, which is apparently legit, you know. Don't look too much into it, just believe it blindly because it helps. Wonderful. Wow, all it took was that one silence for somebody to fuck off. That's hilarious. This channel truly will be a delayed gratification channel, right? People who actually want to, I don't know, exert patience. I love that though. I love that all it takes is 10 seconds for somebody to click off. Nah, I'm always drawing along. Everything else would be weak. Exactly. Exactly. See, Parkit understands. The point of this channel isn't really to just listen to and be like, oh, he's funny man, makes funny noises. Although I do try to make funny noises. Now that it's only me and Parkit, I can tell you I was lying. It's not my personality. It's all a bit. But no, genuinely, the point is to showcase, yeah, the work it takes to get good, and to also encourage you to get good alongside me, right? Because I'm just a shitty beginner, and we're all shitty beginners. So why don't we all just go through this journey together? Maybe I'm a bit further along my journey comparative to you, but at the same time, we should all be trying to get better. So the relation between this, the body, and the tires is clearly the main thing. So I should just focus on drawing these because this connection is very easy to do for me now. It was very difficult before, but it's really easy to do. But this looks awkward because it's so. I'm just more ass. Exactly. You're probably just a bit worse than me, but you probably clicked on my channel because like, wow, his lines are shit a lot too, right? I make a lot of mistakes. I'm just a bit less beginner than you are, right? But oh, thumbs up and the what was it, finger twisty? Cross my fingers from green. I appreciate it. But yeah, this is and honestly, I like streaming just because I have a couple of people like you guys come along, say some stupid shit, right? It's very enjoyable. But anyways, let's focus. So the wheel, the body, and let's try practicing just the wheel and the covering for the wheel, right? Right? Fucking voice voice crack. Right. Right. All right. Jesus Christ, just stop talking, fucking draw, bro. All right. Okay, I need to think of a perspective for this. So this is where I'm gonna go back to the reference. So the helmet, or the not the helmet, the covering essentially covers about this much, and then the wheel is about, it's like if we were to encompass the wheel in a box, it's like this, right? This is the width. So it's basically no, it covers this much. Yeah. And then it kind of comes out like that. Yeah. Something like that. Also, I think this pen is dying, which is no, it's not dying. I don't know. Maybe I'm getting too good at making my lines thin. Who fucking knows? But okay. So I'm gonna draw it from the back because it's also important to do it from the back every now and then, right? You have to give in to the pen's demands. But it's gonna make it. I'm gonna stop. I was thinking something stupid. Anyways. Okay, so if this is the box, then something like this is what the wheel's gonna be like, right? Now I have to think, how would that, because it's a covering, it's essentially a covering for the wheel. So it's something like this, right? That's the wheel. So we have to think, what's on the back, right? I may have actually drawn this a bit too. Yeah, my pen is dying, I swear. What the fuck is going on? What the fuck? Okay, I'll just leave it for this. I'm gonna do it in a different spot. Jesus Christ. Okay. So maybe draw the covering first then. So if that's my perspective, I need to rotate this entire thing. So we need to be This is the box I'm encompassing it in. Something like that. That's the back side. And then like that. I'm drawing through right now, but I wonder if that makes sense. Maybe I need to break it down a bit further. So if I were to look at it from the front, and this is a great spatial reasoning exercise, right? So this is it from the front, right? This is the box I'm encompassing it in. Right, these are like the plain cutouts, and this is the reason this is so difficult is because there are so many cuts happening across the plane, right? If this is our plane, then we're not just we have to think about the relation in terms of things cutting across like this, maybe things cutting across a bit more smoothly, but we still have to use this square plane as a reference in our mind actively while we draw, right? So that's important too. Okay. Fuck. Let me try getting a new pen, bro. This is annoying me. Ooh, bless me. But let's see. Is this gonna make a difference? Oh, this is a lot better. Cool. I'm just gonna turn the page because it's too much clutter right now. I'll probably fill that with lines later. But what is it? Already been 26 minutes, so we need to really think. Okay. So this is where turnarounds help, right? And this is where I need to establish proportion. We established that I like that size, so we're gonna keep it at that size. Health at every size, even when it comes to covering for a bike. But it would likely perform better if it was much leaner, of course. But in this day and age, technically health is at every size, you know. But they just don't tell you that at one point the health becomes unhealth. And it's time to take Ozempic. Shit. Okay. There you go. So that's fine. Right, cuts across like this. And then this is the covering. Wait, no, that's way too long. This is it. It's more like that. That's way too long. So if the same thing were to happen here, right? Again, we need to really, really visualize. Visualizing is the most important yet most difficult part of all of this. And I think I already kind of fucked it up a little. There you go. Something like that. That's the covering. Right, now we have to think about, okay, well, what if I just turned it around? Right, what if I just turned it around? Why is my voice like that? What if I just turned it around? What if I just turned it around? Apple bottom jeans. Let's see. So if I were to do something like this, yeah. Then it's equally as long, and this comes up and back, so it's like this. Right. That curve could have been much more organic like that one. We could have definitely made it more organic. Right, and then this over here comes to the middle again. Something like that. Right? This again should not be, if I look at the reference, I fucked it up here somewhere, so let's try that again. Right? Again, this is the box I'm thinking of. Actually, no, let's put it like this instead. Something like this, maybe? Right? If I just do it, I guess, more of a back view like this. But even then, have you watched PewDiePie art challenge? His improvement was good. Yeah, his improvement was really good. He actually basically just proved to everyone it's just about focusing on something with intention. That was literally the gist of what he proved, you know. And a lot of people, it really annoyed me when I saw beginners reacting to his content, being like, "Oh, I guess I'm just gonna give up," like all that fucking retarded shit, where they're like, "Oh, he's better than me after 6 months, even though I've been drawing for years." Like, okay, well, think about it, right? Let's be honest with ourselves. He was probably drawing with way more intent and focus than you were, right? And the thing is, I've looked at the art of some of those people, and it's literally just they just draw the same shit over and over and over and over, and not in the way that I'm doing, where I'm thinking specifically about fundamentals, form, perspective, line quality, all that stuff. I mean, they're just drawing the same shit they want to draw over and over and over, right? They don't challenge themselves. PewDiePie, literally every time he was drawing, if you actually listen to what he was saying, he was like, "This was really hard. This was difficult. I tried something this. I tried focusing on this. Blah blah blah." He was literally constantly, consistently challenging himself. So that's why PewDiePie is nowhere near as good as I am, because I don't challenge myself. I just draw for shits and giggles. But anyways, yeah, his progress was really good. If any, I think that's correct. If anything, his progress was just a reminder that people really need to work on drawing with intent, right? And the thing is, people also overblow his progress as well. They think he turned into an amazing artist. No, he just got really, really good at drawing the thing he wanted to draw, which was anime girls, and with nice color, right? He also had some like Photoshop experience, from what I know, so he probably intuitively understood color a bit better. But at the same time, he was just focusing, right? He was simply a very focused individual, right? So that's what I think of his progress, is the fact that his fundamentals are still very poor, but for what he set out to do, he did a great job. He did an absolutely great job, right? Did a fucking incredible job of proving that anybody can draw. You know, especially anybody can draw what they want to draw, but there are specific things you have to focus on to be able to get to drawing what you want to draw. Drawing what you want to draw. What's my fucking voice? Ah, okay. There's something else to this that I've missed, which is a little. There you go. That should help establish the perspective as well, right? I think maybe mistakes were made, but let's see. Yeah, I have to always be thinking about the fucking something like that, right? And then on the opposite end, we have that. Fucked up that line so bad. Holy shit! Tried correcting it, made it even worse. There you go. And then it's just this one goes down. We just bring that up like that. Yeah, see? That comes down. Bring it up in the back. Okay, and then the wheel, if I'm going to be consistent with this sizing, which I have to be now because I've established it, the wheel essentially just is a bit further back. So let's see. And it's a bit more down too, actually. It's like this. Yeah, it's down here. So it's a bit further down right here. So is it more like this? You have to think about the sizing of the wheel as well. Yeah, visualizing is extremely difficult. So, you know, don't feel discouraged if you're not able to do what's on your mind, because a lot of the time it's knowledge as well, right? Your knowledge is what creates the ability to visualize something for yourself. If you don't have the knowledge of how to draw an ellipse, if you don't have the knowledge to manipulate shapes, obviously everything's going to be a blur. Well, right now it's about 20 to 30% clear for me, right? And even Kim Jong-il has stated multiple times he's only able to really visualize about 40 to 60% at most what he wants to draw, right? A lot of it comes down to calculating. So again, this is my biggest flaw right now, right? Or not flaw, but mistake I've been making, is how do I get the center of this, because this is centered, right? So I need an ellipse exactly in the center. So it might be something like that. Okay, that's a bit better. Yeah, see? And then now it goes, because we also need to get into the habit of realizing it goes much more diagonally. So it's essentially what this thing is doing. It's going diagonal on this square plane and then outward. So it's like this. There you go. And now this is definitely way more centered than I had it in the beginning. There you go. That's actually pretty decently centered. Okay, great. See? So I recently bought the Dynamic Bible from Peter Hahn. Nice, nice. Just spam all the exercises he does in that, right? His thing is basically an insight into how he thinks, right? But what we're seeing is an advanced progression to his thinking, right? What, like, you're kind of just, it's everything is there. Like, I've looked at pages of that. I've seen clips, snippets, what it has to offer. I've seen some book reviews, right? And the thing with these Dynamic Bible art books of extremely experienced or advanced artists is the fact that, especially if they're doing representational art, everything about form and what they're doing there is already set out. You know, it's all right in front of us, but we're looking at lines and we're looking at, wow, it looks so pretty, instead of understanding that, oh, they're creating a form, right? The dynamic Bible has something like this, and we just think, oh wow, nice shading, but what we're not realizing is like, oh, he's focusing on imagining the contours, right? That's what Peter Hahn's doing, you know. And I'm not saying you're thinking like this, but I can see how someone would just focus on the drawings and not on the thought process. So that's also something you can do, is to try focusing on the thought process as well. And maybe I'm just talking out of my ass, right? But it's quite eloquent, eloquent, even with all the hairs. God, bro, I love how in my intro video I said I was going to I was going to work on my speaking, and I swear I've only just fucking devolved. But okay, this is okay. There's still some things that are off in the perspective here, especially with the covering. But that's not. Oh, I also made this go the wrong way. I forgot I was doing it backwards, so it should have been something like this instead. It should have been over here instead. Yeah. But okay, that's something I'll learn with time. Now I want to practice the body shape, right, and the proportion I've established for that. So this again is my perspective. I'm gonna visualize the lines. When I look at Kim Jong-il's work, it screams perspective. You definitely learn to understand the art. Exactly. Like Kim Jong-il is basically Kim Jong-il, Karl Kopinski, Peter Hahn, even Antonio from Artwad, like a lot of these really, really good draftsmen, right? Even Broken Draw, right? Specifically focusing on perspective. That's not the only thing, of course, line, composition, these are all things you pick up. But when you keep form as the absolute backbone of what you're drawing, right? And you keep trying to figure out how to improve your representation of form, the world just opens up, right? Even this right now, I'm not thinking bike part, right? Really, I'm thinking, okay, it is a flat plane, right? With this manipulation, right? These are like the little I guess cutouts that I'm thinking of, right? And then you have this flat plane, but what's happening here is, okay, we're going in this direction for the cutout. So now this one's like that, right? So it's all about form. It's all about, this is basically a piece of paper that's been bent and it has like 8 different plane changes. That's all this is. This is literally a piece of paper that now is being twisted, turned, right? Has little manipulations, has this thing coming across, has this thing coming across, right? Like that's all it is. But it's very difficult to do this. Don't get me wrong. It's really fucking hard to do this. So it's all slow and steady. You don't just start with manipulating it to that extent. First, you just think about, okay, well, how can I round the corner off? Or how can I just visualize this plane, but maybe, I don't know, do something like this, right? Okay, see, all I've done is cut this across, go like that, right? But yeah, Kim Jong-il's work is just, I say just, but it's not just perspective taken to the max, good line quality taken to the max, and form taken to the max, right? lighting as well, like brushwork. Like obviously there's a million skills he's really improved. How do you get good at eye observation? In what sense? Like if you're talking about proportion, that's something I still struggle with. So for me, it's just about how things relate to other things. And if it comes to, but you're talking about observation, I guess. I don't know. You have to be more specific. Like what type of observation? Observing a form and breaking it down, or observing something and making accurate proportions, or something else. If you can clarify, I'll do my best to answer. But when it comes to proportions, right now, what I'm trying to do is just establish a certain size, as you can see, right, for one thing, and then again check the reference and then establish the size for the other thing, and then just make that the constant size. Because if I can make something consistently the same size, is this is my thought process, is if I can make consistently something the same size, then going larger and going smaller will be easier because I have a frame of reference. I know how I am referencing it and drawing it. Observation and breaking it down. Okay, like in terms of a form. Well, okay, how can I explain this? The thing is, Kim Jong-il said that because he is so used to perspective and such, he can focus on the composition more easily. Exactly, it's subconscious for him, right? But anyways, Green Second, you asked about breaking things down, right? Well, for example, with this bike, I'm doing really complex shapes right now, but for the bike helmet, what I was doing before is I was just doing this. Like you have to think super simple, right? I was just doing this, right? That's the first step, is you just try to think about what is the simplest way I can represent that. And I know that it's very difficult. Trust me, I understand. But that's why I spam perspective so much, because when I keep focusing on improving my form and my manipulation of form, it's easier for me to understand what it is I'm trying to draw. But first, in this bike, what all I was doing in the beginning, if you look at my other crazy scooter parts, is I was just doing this because I couldn't do this. I literally couldn't do this. So I was just focused on doing something like this, right? There you go. That was the wheel, right? That's how I was trying to represent it. So basically, if you're at a very beginner stage in terms of forms, just try to think, how can I turn this into a very simple version of a box and a cylinder, right? Even with like the body, we see how the body I've made so much more complicated, like this, like that, right? Like there's so many more plane changes. But again, if you look at this is fucking me inadvertently shilling my own content. Yes, watch my beginner crazy scooter parts, right? Like the first 4 or 5 parts, you'll see. I mean, to be honest, it is pretty educational, I guess. But instead of doing something so drastic like this, right, and then bringing it down, right, instead of making the body something like this, which again, you see how intuitively I'm doing this now, right? Because I've done it a few, like at least 60 times now, right? Instead of doing something like that, what I was doing for the body was this. Just, if this is our perspective, right? Same shit. If this is our perspective, I'm like, okay, let me literally just really, really try to focus on making the body, like thinking about the middle part, just coming out, right? Because this is already so advanced. Think about it. Going from a normal box that you see in the outside to doing something that's tapering, and also it's tapering, but it's diagonally tapering to the center of this plane. That's very difficult. So basically, I guess the general advice I can give you is, when it comes to breaking down forms, know where you are in terms of the forms you can make, and then essentially first use those simple forms to represent what you are drawing. And then after you've drawn that a couple times, or however long it takes for you to be like, okay, I'm a bit comfortable with just breaking it down to these very rudimentary shapes, then just slowly, incrementally, but enough that it challenges you, start making it more and more detailed, right? Or like more and more broken down, like more and more of a complex form, right? But that's just, and it has to be in a way that you understand. This right now, what I'm doing is I'm artistically trying to recreate the bike exactly as it is. But it started with just really breaking it down to these more simple forms, right? Your bike shape, whatever you do for, let's say you're referencing the exact same bike I am, right? This may not be what you did, right? You may not have done something like that, something like this. This may not be what you do, and that's completely fine, because it's not about you copying others and how they break shapes down. It's you creating your own understanding of these shapes, right? That's the main thing. So you have to create your own exact understanding of these shapes. And obviously, this is a horrible example, but I think hopefully that makes sense. Is you start by, in your own interpretation, seeing how can I break this down into simple boxes and cylinders, or maybe slightly more complex boxes and cylinders, right? And think about just the big shapes. Like, what are the big blocks that I see if I just kind of squint my eyes or whatever? You do that as many times as it takes for you to be like, okay, you want to always only have it like 70 to 80% down before you move on to the next more complex thing, right? You never want to be too comfortable drawing the same shit over and over, right? But and then it's always about your understanding. How do you break it down? Not how others break it down, right? We all start, people who create representational art, we all start from the same boxes and cylinders, whatever, right? That's really important. Perspective knowledge, form knowledge. But then it's about how do you understand the shapes? Because Antonio from Artwad can look at a squirrel and do some shit like this, right? And then he'll make like a half cylinder, and then he'll do something like that, right? And then he'll maybe for the ear make like a slightly tapered box, you know? That's what he'll do. And you'd be like, okay, this is how I understand it. You could do it completely differently. Maybe you'd be like, maybe I'll do something like, I don't know, maybe you'll break this down first, right? You do that because that's what you see first. And then you'd be like, okay, well, now it's actually like this, you know, this box right here. Okay. And then the eye, I'm actually going to do 2 cylinders because I want to make it even more understandable for myself, right? And then the ear, actually, I'm going to break it down into a little bit more, just like a normal box, right? 2 different things, but you're both creating it in your own understanding of these simple forms. So that's what I would suggest. I know my lines are shit. I know my explanations aren't fucking like, this is not the most fucking eloquent way of explaining something, but I hope that gets it across. Yeah, I hope that gets it across. But anyways, I'm gonna keep practicing with these bike parts, right? So I need to think about, and I do agree, Parkit, Kim Jong-hee said that because he's so used to perspective and such, he can focus on the composition more easily. Exactly, right? I'm so used to drawing boxes and cylinders that I can focus on the more complicated versions. It's all the same shit. You drill something till you understand it pretty well, then you just make it harder for yourself, right? Because your body, your mind, your muscle memory, everything, your synapses, everything's been strengthened. It doesn't need to allocate as much mental energy to that. Right now, I need to allocate a pretty decent amount of mental energy to visualizing this because I haven't really intuited it, and yeah, whatever. Same with like the, what's it called, the relationship between the wheel and how close the body is, right? As well as what it looks like from underneath, you know. So yeah, I hope that helps. But anyways, okay, so this is another perspective I'm establishing again. Like, I'm trying to visualize the box and I'm trying to visualize these connections, like that cut across is what I'm utilizing in my mind in order to create this cut across right here. And this is why I'm constantly trying to reinforce the perspective to myself, because that's what's going to make me grow, right? And then again, this is slightly more diagonal, and I obviously need to keep the form in mind. I messed this up a little because it should have been more subtle. But again, keeping the form in mind is the most important thing you can do, right? And this is why I also artistically focus on line quality, because that also helps a lot, right? Again, this is my thing, so it's cutting across this way. And then we have there you go. That's like the bike helmet area. Right now I need to think about the middle. Where's the middle? It starts around here, and then this is where the top of the bike exists, right? Like the body. So again, I need to think, how far away is that? So it's actually around here. Okay, and then we can think, okay, again, the box, think about the box. Now we're thinking about this plane and the exact diagonal, right? Think about this plane and just a diagonal that cuts across that. And then I have to recreate that while keeping proportion in mind, right? Because it's much longer than this. Then same shit here. I'm trying to bring it back, right? So what's the cut across here? It's like this, and it's much smaller. Again, trying to use a reference as a point. And then this is the same thing as this. That's why I try to make the cuts even, right? Like this cut across whatever, this angle should be the same. So again, should be something like that. And then what does that look like on the opposite side? Oh, it's more narrow. Yo, thanks. Yeah, no worries, no worries. I hope it helped. But trust me when I say, I'm learning all of this too, but the best thing you can do for yourself is just think. Just think so fucking hard, right? Like really just focus on always visualizing the perspective, the form, the planes, all that shit. That's the main thing that's helped me, right? And then if this is the perspective, we need to make this much bigger, twice as big, right? So, and then we go up a little bit. There you go. And then again, what does that look like? This perspective, because again, I have to zoom out now, right? I have to zoom out and maybe something like that. There you go. Something like that. And then again, see, and we do, there you go. So this relationship is a lot more accurate, I'd like to think, because if I were just to, again, think about the perspective, bring it over. So if that's plane here, then this one would be like right around there, right? Okay, so we can actually think about that right now. So if this is cutting across like that, then yeah, this one would be like this. So it'd be something like that, right? So we could bring that across, and then maybe it doesn't look the most accurate. Now we have to wonder, why doesn't that look accurate? Because obviously that's also jutting out like that. Wait, it's jutting out like this actually. See, it shouldn't be that short. Oh, it should be more like, I guess, down here, right? So I struggle with that. So what are we gonna do? We're gonna rest our brain, and then we're gonna ignore everything else and just focus on drawing this. So now we know the main weakness when it comes to making this seem more believable from the bottom view, right? From this view, is this right here, right? Understanding how this thing, this part right here, and why it's not connecting in the way that I visualize it to be. So that's the main thing. So two things we figured out now, right? Which is great. The relationship between the bike covering as well as here, just so it's a bit clearer, I guess, right? Oh, I fucked that perspective off horribly. Yeah, whatever. So this and this, right? The covering and this, because everything else is pretty simple, right? Everything else is like, oh, okay, I have this coming in, blah, 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 right? But that's the main relation right now. And again, this is just the first part of the bike, the first half, the front half. The back half is a whole other fucking piece. But that's why I can't wait to move on to the beginner roadmap in Artwad. I'm going to be drilling that for the next couple months and just doing it. So should be fun. But I'm going to rest my brain. It's already somehow been 53 minutes. I'll go for another 20 or so, and then call it there. Right, 4 people here. Nice, cool. But yeah, I hope that helped. Green second, right? I'll just call you Green. Don't keep fucking saying your full name over and over. I'm lazy. But I hope that helped, right? Hope that made sense. The biggest thing that is kind of, it's like a weird gray area where you have to follow the basic rules. Like you really have to internalize the form, right? You have to understand all this shit. But then after that, it's kind of it's once you can get good at drawing basic forms and then even slightly manipulating them, then when you're using references, especially hard surface is a great teacher for learning how to simplify shapes, right? Hard surface being anything that's vehicular, engineered, right, mechanical. That's great for showing you that, wow, there is a lot of boxes and cylinders generally, like a lot of primitives being utilized here. And it really helps you break things down. And it really helps with proportion too, right? And my suggestion is just to view everything you draw as literally just a spatial reasoning exercise, because a spatial reasoning and a visualization exercise, right? that in of itself will set your mind state and your practice with intention, right? As I mentioned earlier, like good intention. Because if everything is just a spatial reasoning exercise, then everything you do is just focusing on the process at the end of the day, right? You're just focusing on understanding space better, manipulating space better, and visualizing that space as a cluster of primitive forms or manipulated forms. And that's really what art is. But when you forget about I'm trying to draw a bike and you focus more on I'm just trying to understand this primitive, this manipulated form connected to this manipulated form and their relation, and there's like a thing connecting them here, right? It makes it a lot more like a fun problem solving Lego piece sort of jigsaw set type shit. Type shit. There you go. That's my conclusion. Yeah, it makes it more like a problem solving endeavor rather than oh, I'm trying to fucking learn all these different things about art, blah blah blah. Because that will come. The stronger your spatial reasoning, the easier everything else will become, right? That's why I really only focus on three things, which is visualizing perspective, visualizing the forms within those perspectives, and then focusing on making my lines uh, clean and as consistent within that perspective, right? And failing a lot. If you're not failing, you're not learning. So, feeling good, right? Essentially having a mental like a nut when you fail. So, yeah. Anyways, I'm gonna rest my brain. I encourage you all to rest your brain as well if you've been drawing. And yes. All right. Cool. Yeah, W, I guess. I don't know what that means. Like W as in win. W's in the chat. I don't fucking know. I appreciate it, I guess. But yeah, I like it. The thing, these positive comments that I get really help in the grand scheme of me continuing my channel. I was always going to continue it anyways, but getting comments, I got one recently where it was like, oh, keep doing this. I love these types of videos, right? The long form, you're just talking while you're drawing. And that's the whole point is this is my art progress. It's going to be extremely ugly. And then 5 years from now, it's gonna be fucking amazing, and everybody's gonna be like, "Oh my god, wow, who is this guy?" And I'll be like, "I'm just someone trying to sell my course. Link in the description." It's gonna be great, but it's true though. I'm not even joking about that. I'm gonna make a course and fucking sell the shit out of that. Money, money, money. That's what I'm after. So, oh, and of course, community and all that shit. But, anyways, okay. Let me think. Let me think. We need to actually let's cheat a little bit. By cheat, I mean just create a little perspective assistance, I guess, right? Little guide for me so I can focus more about the technical aspect of it, right? So we have something. This is obviously going down, so we have something like this where it's comedy. What comedy? What the fuck? I don't know what you're saying, Green. Comedy question mark. It's an interesting statement, but something like this, right? That's what we have. Cool. Now, the main thing is I need to understand that this is obviously a subtraction. So then we have to go again like so. Actually, wait. I think I might be messing something up here. Well, let's just do this first so we understand that, okay, this is the front part of the bike, right? These are the headlights or whatever the fuck. This is what the basic primitive shapes are. So in that case, Jesus Christ, man, people are really slamming doors right now. That's the unfortunate part about being my room being right next to the garage, because I live in my parents' basement, but it's going along this plane, and then it's going outward. So we have something like this, right? Same thing, going along this plane and then going Ah, yes, so I should have made it more subtle. That's the thing. It should be a lot more subtle. And then we have something like that. I think I misinterpreted the word you said. I'm sure that happens often because I don't know how to speak slowly. I don't know, bro. I don't know what I said. I have no idea. I'm too fucking focused on this shit. And then this is, again, going up. No, it's going out. So let's just say it's going out like this. But then it's going up like that. Yeah, so there's three plane changes happening. It's if we run it along this, right? And that's the perspective up here. We run it along that. Then we do, let's just say, quote unquote, one arbitrary unit out, and then one arbitrary unit up. So that's why it's connected like this. See, subtle plane changes. Subtle plane changes are the most difficult. Absolutely, they're the most difficult. But this becomes more intuitive with time. So that is the shape. Now that is just the shape I have to embody, no pun intended, for the body. But yeah, that's what I have to focus on, it seems, right? So, and again, like I'm only really practicing crazy scooters. I'm sure this was very repetitive. Sometimes I think I should change up my content a little bit because I'm like, my audience, my fans, oh, I need views, I need money. But at the same time, this is my practice. So this is what I'm focusing on, right? Now let's see again if I can do it in this perspective, right? So same shit, differently. That's the size I've established. Let me look at the reference again. And again, I think maybe just my understanding of the reference maybe could be better. So I need to always see the lines. That's the main thing. I need to see and I need to calculate. That's the main thing. To see and to calculate. And the more I say this, hopefully the better it gets. Gets, right? Okay, so again, if that's the perspective, I need to think about the plane. You see, I just lost it immediately, but that's the perspective, right? So this right here, what's happening here is involving this plane. So yeah, there you go, something like that. And then this one, again, is involving this plane. There you go. See, a lot more legit. It really helps to speak out loud. I would suggest everybody make a YouTube channel showcasing their art progress. I'm not even memeing. That would probably be the best thing you can do in terms of just what's it called? What am I trying to say? What the fuck am I trying to say? Yeah, and in terms of sort of utilizing the whole speaking out loud, teaching yourself thing. So what's happening in the back here? We need to be able to visualize again. That's the plane, right? This is connected roughly. So we need this to also go out because we have to think about what's happening in the back here, right? It's going outward, then it's bringing it down, and then it's something like that. Line could have been better. And again, if this is the plane we've established, right? This is the perspective. Then we need something where, okay, if this is the plane, then this one should be like this. It's never going to be perfect, but that's okay, right? It's about, now why is it so much longer in the back? That's something I need to figure out. Something fucked up here. So if this is the rough perspective I was going for, see, like that's the thing, putting it in the box, right? So what I should have done is made this bit longer, perhaps something like that. But we're getting close. And I'm going to keep focusing on making this the size, right? It helps a lot in terms of because I want a consistent size for the bike. Because if this is the helmet size, or not the helmet, but the I don't know why the fuck I keep calling it that, but the tire covering size, then let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 widths of this. So it's literally something like that, right? If that's the width that I'm going for roughly, then 1, 2, 3, 4. This is how big the bike's gonna be. It's gonna be like this. That's not bad, right? And that is a good way to teach me proportion as well, you know? So yeah, this bike endeavor is gonna be one that lasts for a very long time, but I'm excited because if I can recreate this bike in the next couple years with essentially one-to-one, what that means is my spatial reasoning is really fucking good, right? Because there's a lot of manipulated shapes, and it was very intimidating in the beginning, but as you can see, with hours and hours of practicing in the series, as well as I guess bastardizing the series and now doing it on the live streams consistently, it's been really good. So right around here is where we have. Now this is again, like this is why I need to zoom out and think about the Y in the box at all times, because now we have something like this. See, same angle as that. Not perfect, but, and again, always trying to visualize the entirety of the thing. And now we don't really see that side. Not really, right? Yeah, we don't really see that side. And now this is the relationship between the two. Maybe this could be even higher, but now we again have to think about this entire box that I've been establishing, this perspective. So what have we said here? It is, if this is the plane, right? This is the plane that I've established, and this one is something from the middle of that plane. So yeah, if this is the plane that I've established, if the way I think about it is just from the middle of that plane, what angle am I establishing? Now this one can be, just slight, literally, do you see how slight that is? Just slightly going to the edge, versus if I were to do it something like this instead, like that angle. Those are I literally just do that. I either think from the middle of the plane or I think from the edge of the plane. And that allows so much in plane changes, but also consistency in terms of everything that you draw, right? Within the clusters of shapes, the bike, whatever that you're trying to draw, right? So even if it's different than the actual given even if it's different than the given reference, it's still consistent. And it's so subtle that nobody will know, but you'll have your consistent design language within it, right? So yeah, okay. And then this is going, yeah, see, now this is the difficult part. So now we're gonna do, it's going with it, right? Then out and above. So it's something like that. Subtle plane change. And then here, again, what is this? It's like that. There you go. You see? Now the relationship makes a lot more sense here. There you go. There you go. Fucking amazing. Is this the exact same angle that it is in the reference? No, but it's one that I'm establishing as per consistency's sake. Right now, if we want to have the wheel, right? Again, always keeping the perspective in mind. Right? And then if we wanted to have this thing, whatever this fucking thing is called, but you can see if I were to have this in the middle, and you see it's much more, it's definitely less diagonal, right? It's more straightforward, which is what I want, which is good. I'm pretty sure there's still mistakes here, but this was pretty fun, and this was a good practice for sure. So yeah, that's why I'm gonna keep doing this on the live streams. Right at the end of the day, everything I draw is purely for spatial reasoning practices and purposes. Okay, it's been 70 minutes, so I think I'll stop it here. Oh, there's nobody. Oh no, there's still one person watching, I guess. If it's greened, I hope you had a wonderful time drawing along. I hope you drew along, right? Or if this was educational, whatever the fuck, right? But as always, bye. Yes, goodbye. Yeah, I don't know. I still don't know what those weird ass emojis are, but I guess it's appropriate to your name, Green, because it's all green. Such a funny joke. But yeah, great. You were here. Thank you. So with that being said, as always, fuck you for watching. Keep drawing, and please give me money. Thank you. Just gonna, as always, just fucking shuffle this awkwardly and goodbye.